Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings on planet Earth everywhere. I hope you're all having a lovely evening. This is a follow-up video. I'm just moving my stick across the table. I'm really intrigued by this story of Sentibale and Harry's resignation. I really feel this is something. Now, bear with me. Further to last night's video, I've been sitting and thinking because this reminds me of the engagement interview. I'll tell you how I first heard that Harry was going to get married to a girl. I didn't see it in the newspapers. I didn't see the Vanity Fair article. Actually, at the time, I was deep into like political arguments on Facebook. And Graham came downstairs and said, Prince Harry's going to get married. Followed hotly by my daughter who said, Mum, Prince Harry's going to get married. I mean, my kids didn't know who any of the Windsors were. And we showed them that TV comedy show, The Windsors, the Channel 4 comedy show where they sort of do a mimicry of them. And our kids really got into it and they were like, oh, is that what they're really like? And then after we'd watched it all, we Googled all the characters. And our kids were like, well, the people who are taking the piss out of them don't actually look like them. And the sweetest thing that they said was they wanted to know who Fergie was. And when they saw the actual Sarah Ferguson, they both said, oh, wow, she's way prettier than the lady that takes the piss out of her, which I thought was really sweet. And if Sarah's out there and watches this, I say that for what it's worth. Now, there's something about this Sentibale story that reminds me of the engagement interview because when Graham and Faith first told me Harry's going to get married, and I went, oh, really? What, to Cressida? And they went, no, who's she? You know, they didn't know who that was. They said, it's an American. I thought, ding, 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 yes. She's an actress. I thought, perfect. She's been divorced. I thought, yes, you know, it's like Wallace Simpson, but it'll come good. And she's biracial. I thought, even better. And then I saw some footage of her and I thought, oh, she looks a laugh. Hi, Kitty. They're going to have a right laugh together. I really, really thought they were going to be the cheeky chappy and chapess of the royal family. They'd be some sideline where they'd get everything wrong and they'd always be having a laugh and a joke. And then I saw the engagement interview. Now, I wasn't quite sure, as I'm not quite sure at the moment about Sentibale, but the mist is clearing. I'll get to the point. There were many alarm bells that were going off subliminally in my brain, and I didn't really understand it until, you know, I watched people like H.G. Tudor who start breaking it down, and Pedina and people like that, and Taz, and of course Wally. There were things in that interview. I mean, when she said she'd never heard of Harry, you know, I never Googled him and all that. I thought, okay, cut the girl some slack. What's a girl supposed to say, you know, in front of the guy she's engaged to? She's not really going to admit, well, I wouldn't marry him if he wasn't a prince. I mean, that would be a terrible thing to say. And that's the same for anybody on these sort of engagement interviews and all the pressure. So I thought, Fiona, cut her some slack. Then there were other alarm bells when they said, how did you meet? And Harry said, well, we were set up on a blind date. And she instantly interrupted and went, but we should protect her privacy. And I just thought, how rude. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Do you realise this is an engagement interview, Windsor, royal family, etc., etc.? But the thing that really the pinnacle for me was, I just had one question. Is he nice? Because if he's not nice, then it doesn't work for me. For me. Remember the spectacle? Because people only watched because it was the world famous Meghan Markle. Yeah, the chick nobody had ever heard of before. Now, why do I rake all this up? Because I just have this sensation, and I have to share it with you guys. I just feel we're watching the War of the Sussexes. And I'll explain why. I mean, last night, my friend, Moj, I am going to give her credit. It was Moj who told me and said, have you seen this news item? So, I mean, I'd literally just seen it, made the video. That was my instinct, my gut reaction. I have looked into this woman since, and don't get me wrong, Harry's got some big problems on the horizon. Now, I see there's a page 6 article, and it's very, very, very short. Let me read it to you. Page 6. Now, if you watch any of my videos, you'll know that back in 2022, I figured out page 6 has a hotline to Meghan and her people. This is page 6. Inside Prince Harry's charity mess and the misogynoir accusations that led to his resignation. Not only his, but like fucking everyone resigned. The chairwoman of a charity co-funded by Prince Harry. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I keep slipping into that. No, of course, Meghan didn't write this. The chairwoman of a charity co-founded by Prince Harry claims misogynoir is to blame for why the Duke of Sussex and Board of Trustees resigned. Beneath all the victim narrative. Sorry, I don't know why I keep slipping into that. I'll be British about this. Beneath all the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to press is the story of a woman who dared to blow the whistle about issues of poor governance, weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny, misogynoir, and the cover-up that ensued. My God, I did that without drawing breath. That's a lot of allegations. And I don't doubt old Windsor, he's a twat. As you all know, you watch this channel, Windsor's a twat. Dr. Sophie Chandaukar, chairwoman of Sentibale, told the London Times Wednesday, misogynoir, by definition, is hatred, wow, that's a strong word, aversion to, or prejudice against black women. The term was first coined in 2008 by activist and feminist. Oh, I'm sorry. Fiona, stop it. Sorry. Don't know why I keep sleeping. I just hear her voice sometimes when I read things. Can't help it. Was coined by activist and feminist scholar Moya Bailey per dictionary.com. Oh, dictionary.com, my God. Forget Oxford and Cambridge. Fuck them. Fuck that shit. Dictionary.com. I'm so intellectual and classy. And her website. Oh, that's the end of the article. That's the end of the article. Well, I've got a question for everybody. If everyone can put their dislike of Harry to one side just for one moment and ask yourself one question. Why is Megsy's priority to be doing some stupid PR stunt with that bimbo Paltrow? Why is she not making her priority to defend her husband? Ask yourself that one essential, is this guilt by omission? Wasn't there someone once upon a time called Jessica Mulroney who was attacked for being, and don't get me wrong, I think Jessica's a bitch, but I think she's a bitch who's got a good story to tell. Wasn't she hung out to dry over, I don't know, fuck all? Wasn't that misogynoir? I suppose I run the risk of getting thrown off YouTube here. Or do I? Because what I believe we may be witnessing is the beginning of the War of the Sussexes. Now let me explain just quickly in brief how I became aware of the beginning of the War of the Waleses. And I mean, some of you may remember this. I was 24. I went round to my grand's. My parents had come down to visit. The news came on and the news were making a big thing. Big War of the Waleses is coming. The War of the Waleses is coming. And they were basing this on, apparently, Diana and Charles had gone to South Korea for a visit and they didn't hold hands. And as a 24-year-old, I watched this and I thought, so what? The Queen and Prince Philip don't hold hands. Loads of people don't hold hands. Diana and Charles. But obviously, I was naive and I hadn't been following this story from quite a long time. I didn't understand about the royal rota. I didn't understand that reporters and journalists are human beings and they see little tiny things, like Princess Margaret picking a bit of fluff off Peter Townshend's shirt at a wedding. You know, and I said to my mum and dad, that's what? Princess Diana and Prince Charles are going to split up? And my parents, of course, they were like little kittens who just sucked up everything that mainstream media back in the day fed out because, you know, that's all we had. There was internet, but it was not what it is today. And my parents both said, oh, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Of course they're not going to split up. Well, you know. But it all started from that little seed. And that would have been BBC, I suppose, or ITV News. So by then, there probably had been an awful lot of speculation around aristocratic dinner parties and lots of talk and et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't just that Charles and Diana were not holding hands. Now, I have been, as many of you have been, following this story from the engagement interview and possibly before. And for me, why is Meghan not only not defending her husband, who she's so in love with, the mama and papa tree? Oh, we're so in love. I'm so in love with his title. Why is she not only not defending Harry? Why is she pissing around over some fucking banana bread breakfast shit with Paltrow? Interesting, don't you think? Well, I certainly think so. Okay, I could be completely wrong. I could be full of shit. Maybe I'm way off beam. But I think that a lot of people who quite understandably despise Harry, I think that that despising of Harry is like blinding them. They're just not seeing what's coming down the pipeline. And I think, I think old Mixie, you know, they could pillow talk. I bet there's a lot that she can say. Well, let's see. I know which side I'm on. I am on the side of the monarchy, a constitutional monarchy. And old Hazza, well, I think a lot of you are going to love this. I think he's about to be served up his just desserts. The question is, will he get any sympathy as the black... No, I'm not going to use that term. As the poisonous spider creeps up beside her and sinks her fangs into his leg. Will he get sympathy? Maybe he will from some people, maybe not. I think there's going to be a lot of people eating crow. I could well be one of them. I could be completely wrong. But for me, I mean, right, Invictus is a biggie for him. But Sentibale, oh, this is even bigger for him. This is, you know, his part of his heart. There's something funny going on here. And whatever direction it takes, I will give you an honest opinion of what I think. Where's Megsie? Oh, that's right. She's with Gwynnie in the kitchen. Oh, Gwynnie. As the Duchess of Sussex, if you haven't subscribed to her, Duchess of Sussex is a fabulous YouTuber, said tonight, I agree with her. Gwyneth Paltrow, and I've just watched the Sidley twins, and they've shown that Paltrow has this sort of line of behaviour. Fabulous video from the Sidley twins, love them. I think they're spot on that one. But this thing needs further investigation. And I was on Sussexes Live earlier and I heard, you know, this woman filed something in the High Court. Well, filing stuff with legalities, right, and courts, please don't ever think that the courts are about right and wrong, because they're not. The law is a complicated animal, and anybody who gets into a tit-for-tat legally, if they're clever, then they're strategic with their movements. It's very much like playing a high-stakes chess game when you go to court. There are many, many manoeuvres you can do, and the law may agree with you in some and not in others, and need I remind anybody about wanker Warby, so don't expect courts or the fact that this woman, Sophie, what a doctor this, doctorate that, whatever she said. And I am on the tail of this case because, as I said on Sussexes Live tonight, if I get a whiff, just of a vagina sniffing candle of Megxy and the sugars around this lady who's brought Sentibale down, never mind Harry, never mind that, never mind that. Never mind the fact that he had Boozy on the Netflix thing and he endorsed. No, forget that. Just put a pin in that. I'll come to him later. If I get a whiff that this woman at Sentibale is behind any orchestration of the sugars and laughing at the King, the Princess of Wales, and most importantly, my husband for having cancer, I'm going to make it my fucking business to eat her alive on the internet and her mistress. Make no mistake of that. I think I've put my stake in the sand. I don't like Windsor. I think he's enabled the women. But that's where my interest lies. And yes, it all got very personal over the last couple of years. So I'll be seeing you, Megxy. I'm sure you're innocent. And in the meantime, thank you all very much for listening. And may your God go with you.